Thank you very much, Dash, for the last time today.
Appreciate the cheer, too, from Kobe.
Yeah, Kobe's always
The world's
enthusiastic,
best hype man.
Exactly. For the last time today, definitely, but I'm sure we'll see T1 and RNG matching up further in the year. Worlds obviously just on the horizon, but today there can only be one victor. In the last 2 international finals we've had, it has gone the distance. RNG beat Damwon, EDG beat Damwon in 3-2 at MSI and Worlds. Today, T1 are the LCK representative that are trying to take down the powerhouse that is the LPL over the last few years.
It's true. Azael, you mentioned it earlier, 5 of the last 7 international titles have been won by an LPL team.
Yeah.
The 2 exceptions were the G2 MSI win back in 2019 and then the Damwon World Championship win in 2020. But the LPL have been dominant. What's crazy is how many different teams they have been dominant with. There are a slew of different competitive teams that consistently come out from the LPL, but the name that keeps reoccurring in recent years is this RNG roster. Domestically, internationally, they're a name, an organization that you consistently have to fear, and they've looked down the barrel of a 5th game multiple times. Anyone that's familiar with the LPL playoffs know how difficult and grueling that format can be, but now they stare down the eyes of T1. They look into the eyes of FLICKR and his young crew behind him, who are on the precipice of being back on top, who are 1 game away from reclaiming their title and perhaps beginning a new legacy for the LCK.
And it all comes down to one final draft. Here we are. The last adjustments will be made. RNG back on blue. Blue has won every game so far in this series. And RNG will have the advantage of being on that side. They are going to ban out the LeBlanc, which was very problematic. I like the point from Lyric. I did kind of agree that, you know, a lot of the aggression that RNG were throwing towards FLICKR just wasn't effective because LeBlanc has so much mobility, so much safety. FLICKR, even in that 1v3 outplaying in mid lane, was able to be so active as well in the team fights. A lot of these bans are new, really, through the adaptation in this series. You know, the LeBlanc coming back into the ban after kind of falling out early. The Xayah really rising to priority. The Viego getting banned out because Wei had been so dominant on it. I'm so interested to see if Wukong is going to go through again because it has been really, really powerful, but they just seem to be more worried about some of these other picks.
Yeah, I think that the question is, what about Gwen? What about Gangplank?
Gwen, probably.
Well, this is the thing. Will T1 run the risk of giving it over to Bin once more? It's a champion that is clearly very difficult to deal with. I'm very curious, what will they remove? The GP. Okay, they're heavily suggesting the Gwen first pick once again. Galio is up. Gwen is up. T1 Ahri is also up.
You know what would be really interesting? Is if they don't ban Gwen, you actually just first pick Wukong as RNG and then threaten the Jax as the counter pick.
Yeah.
Because Bin is actually really comfortable in that matchup.
It's what they did game 5.
Yeah, so I actually think it would really make sense. And now T1 has to consider that. Like, do you just ban the Gwen here? Like, or are you willing to actually trade? Because if you ban Gwen, then they just take the Wukong.
They're
so now I actually love this.
Up.
I think they take Wukong. They say, I dare you to take Gwen because we will play the Jax into it. Excuse me, you could play the inverse. I thought they would take the Wukong, yeah, but it's we'll see. Maybe they just want the Gwen anyway.
I think they're so comfortable on the Gwen. They're just saying, you know what, we'll grab it. We don't care.
Wukong's just such a strong team fighter.
The thing is now, that T1, I wouldn't be surprised if they went Ahri Wukong, right? And then, of course, the RNG response is they could either go Galio, but they would probably go Lissandra, Lee Sin. And you're kind of looking into what seems to be a predetermined draft and where will the variations come from?
Yeah, and I really thought we were going to see that variation of the threatening of the Jax, but it's just been so interesting. You know, are they willing to even go to the Wukong here? You know, knowing that they could be up against the Lee Sin, they are, in fact, going to lock it in. And it just feels like the read is, well, Zeus, your good answers to the Gwen is really just the GP, right? Because the Jayce didn't work in game 1. GP is what he's played throughout this. Is he willing to go to something like the Jax? Would be really, really exciting if he were willing to go towards it, but I kind of feel like we might just be getting something a little bit more vanilla, like the Gnar again.
I mean, he's played Jax 3 times this year, has won every single game where he's
got
played
a Jax game this tournament.
Yeah, played it once in MSI as well, and it is the known counter, like the most prominent counter for the Gwen. T1 taking their time, Jayce instead. Okay. We saw this in game 1. Zeus did win the laning phase, but then Bin just took over the game.
Well, and it just felt like he didn't win by enough. That's the thing, right? Like, the Gold League kind of lied to you because Bin farmed evenly. Zeus took a plate, maybe 2 plates, I believe it was. So yes, he did have a slight gold lead, but when you take the scaling into consideration, it just went so far in RNG's favor. And it does feel like they have kind of drafted Zeus into a little bit of a corner. We'll see if he can perform better this time around, or if T1 just want to go for a very different draft. Because we also have to remember, this was the Caitlyn Morgana game, I believe, in game number 1 that they brought out. And it did make the whole comp feel a little bit weird. They also had Nocturne in that one, but they had no dive buddies. So maybe the Jayce can really fit in if you get some sort of a, kind of like a pokey bot lane or something like that.
Kai'Sa is the champion I'm looking at right now. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I really like this Tahm Kench ban from RNG. I think that it's been such a huge thorn in their side because, as you rightly said, Jinx Tahm has been the bot lane that T1 have leveraged to have that solid team fighting prowess later on into the game. So mitigating half of that combo, I think, does a lot of value.
And I really wonder now, does Gumayusi have the confidence to just go to Aphelios or Jinx anyway when you're going against Lissandra and, the Lee Sin if you do not have Keria playing that Tahm Kench behind you, right? So it's really becoming very, very interesting. I think
Lucian, Ezreal, Kai'Sa, Caitlyn, Xayah, Tristana is something we could
Ezreal,
Jhin,
Aphelios,
Jhin, Aphelios, maybe.
Yeah, Jinx as well, right? There are options.
Kalista.
Kalista feels so weak.
No, I know, but it's been a consistent ban here. I don't think that Kalista would be good for T1, and they're going to agree and go for the Jhin.
Jhin does work in supporting your dive, but if you're the one being dove upon, it becomes very difficult to really play the game. And I do think that what RNG is drafting feels like it wants to run at the Jhin, and T1 would have to preempt that by being the ones to engage, to kind of create that space for Jhin to be more follow-up where it can be successful.
Especially if you go Tristana Leona here. Like, you have a very strong composition at getting on top of that Jhin and making sure he can't really play the game. RNG do still have a few other options, but I actually really like, well, Leona or Rakan, something that gives you that backline threat.
Yeah, I think the Rakan kind of guarantees that you are going to be able to land that CC on the champions like this Jhin, like this Jayce. Do they dare?
I really think this could be really good here.
The Keria has played Zilean, I believe, in the LCK, a number of times. And I do think Zilean support is one of the best scaling supports, if not the best scaling support in the entire game. I think it's really good, especially because it's a lot of single target pick here. Instead, changing over to Yuumi. Yuumi Jhin, very popular combo because of the massive amount of move speed. You also have a really good pairing with the Wukong and with the Ahri. That flat AD or AP that you can give them really amps up their ability to actually knock down these kills. And of course, Prowling Projectile plus the root from your ultimate is also really, really strong. So interesting stuff, a lot of new things.
I would have really liked the Zilean, but as you rightly said, I think the Yuumi does offer a strong scaling, and as you rightly said, it also complements a lot of high mobility champions.
Yeah.
And against a Rakan lane, it's going to be difficult to punish. He's not the most aggressive of laners, and he's not a champion that usually dominates in the 2 versus 2, so Yuumi can kind of play quite safe alongside the Jhin.
And I think one of the things that's also really cool is that the Yuumi kind of is a bit of a dive buddy here for Oner and FLICKR, right? It allows you to kind of go forward with 3, diving in towards some of these carries. My main concern for T1 is just what is Zeus going to be able to get done in this top lane? If he cannot create a large advantage against this Gwen, we know that Gwen is going to have the run in the side lane. I'm expecting it to be Ghost Gwen again, like it was in game number 1, where it was, I believe, 13-0 on that Gwen for Bin. So that is that kind of inevitable feeling, but maybe they're feeling, hey, with the Yuumi, we get that additional scaling, and our mid-jungle is going to be that much stronger, the Jhin could be that much stronger, that the Gwen maybe isn't going to run over the game.
It is in game 5s where all of the pressure is on and teams can often falter. The pressure can get to you, the execution, your confidence. You don't want to be the player that makes the mistake that loses your team the game. But these are veteran organizations. They are led by the veteran players in Xiaohu, Ming, and FLICKR, and it's up to the players behind these veterans to feel confident in their leaders to be able to execute and bring their team to victory.
And it's so interesting because I completely agree. In a lot of these cases, teams can start to play a little bit too defensive, right? They're scared to make that mistake. And oftentimes, in those situations, it is the player who has the confidence to make the play, to go for the big move that can actually come out on top. That sometimes being the aggressor can often really work in your favor. Ming starting sweeper here, wanting to play to clear out that brush. In melee versus range, having side brush advantage with a ward is really, really big. So Ming trying to make sure that the Jayce does not have that.
You see Oner and Keria switching over to sweepers as well. Of course, Wei cannot do that. It means that you have a little bit more vision control as T1 in the early game. If you can catch out some of those wards, Wei needs his ward to be able to safeguard forward, to be able to look for some of those gank paths. And so far, we have had a back and forth series. Both RNG and T1 landing punches. The early game has often dictated who will be able to take the lead later on. So this game is for everything. Both these teams fighting for their third title here at MSI.
Man, you just have to love how scrappy these guys. Every single game, level 1 starts, they're trading. They're not going for minions. They're just going right at each other.
They're just trying to proc that electrocute, get it on cooldown sooner so you can proc the electrocute again. Right? It's really important, especially in Ahri lanes, that you're able to go for early skirmishes, but Zeus doing the same thing alongside being good trade for Zeus overall. Able to use the phase rush to create a big enough gap, which means that now he's got a big health advantage. Goes back to the range form, chips away at Bin once again. And notice he is running the biscuits, so he will have that small health advantage. And Zeus playing this 1v1 very well.
I just love that little bit of tech. Oh, Xiaohu going forward is going to proc the electrocute. But yeah, you just start acceleration gate because then when Bin goes forward,
you can't get on. Keria cannot jump back onto Gumayusi. The chase is on. The ignite is ticking, and Ming will claim first blood.
And in game 5, when you have to step up, it is RNG's bot lane that find a 2 versus 2 kill. A very narrow window to punish, but RNG strike.
Absolutely. They're going in to get 2 first.
Yeah, Gumayusi, nowhere for him to go. Does still have the flash. Will try and use it away from this battle dance. GALA, though, gets the reset for the jump forward. And it's all RNG in the bottom side of the map. Gumayusi, though, survives in the midst of the minions now. Ming has to be careful. FLICKR jumped on, dodges away from the Sonic Wave. The charm will connect, but he will fall as well.
Oh my god, Ming tried to give the kill to GALA. He could have taken that with one last auto there. I'm not sure if that was a fleet proc that kind of made them miscalculate. Maybe the fleet came up at the last second there and got that little bit of healing out. Oner gonna look.
Look at the Xiaohu will get him once again. Flash forward, decimating, strike enough.
How reminiscent of that is that earlier game of the top lane play, flashing past Wei to kill off a soul laner. Of course, that was on Bin, not Xiaohu, but very reminiscent. And not getting that kill is actually so impactful for bot lane because if GALA gets that, like, that is massive. Going back with a better base, denying the wave. Instead, Gumayusi able to stay around. He's going to actually have the much better base himself. We can watch this one more time. In with the W, knocks him up, so Keria cannot reattach. The flash forward to get that 4th hit on the explosive charge. And then the... Somebody call Peta!
The googly eyes! Meanwhile, in mid, while that action was happening in the bot side, FLICKR got collapsed on. Level 2,
there was
Ahri.
a ward on the Razor Beaks. I think they spotted.
Very weak.
There was no ping, so he may have walked, close
just
enough.
Around it,
The
yeah.
flash W, that was a good play from Xiaohu, leveraging the level advantage that he had to force the Suns out. And then FLICKR, he wants to try and get that level 3. Yeah, you can see what... a bit of an overstep, truth be told, by FLICKR there.
Oh,
he ends up getting punished, but now RNG on the offensive once again.
Zeus has flash, and he has Oner here as well. Oner will try and put the damage down to Xiaohu. No glacial path available for the Lissandra right now. Ring of Frost, though. Zeus going to try and get away, but you can't when there are 3 members of RNG surrounding you.
I love the confidence from RNG there, just to force Xiaohu actually TPing back. He get charmed. Okay, almost had the timing. I was going to say, when you're TPing in that low against an Ahri, if FLICKR had the pixel perfect timing, you could actually die there. There's no ultimate, there's no stasis at this point to defend yourself. So FLICKR will at the very least get a little bit of chip damage down, deny maybe a minion or 2.
And we talked about how in Game 5s, teams can often feel the overwhelming pressure, the responsibility that you have to your team. But it feels like the RNG in this Game 5 has just kicked it up a gear. They are not slowing down at all. 2v2s going all in. Mid-jungle, not only are they attacking FLICKR, but they're also roaming towards the top side of the map. And they are challenging T1 in the early game. The best early game team in the world. And RNG is saying, no, not today, we're going to take you on.
Absolutely, and you can see something we didn't get to talk about. Gumayusi and Keria both running exhaust. So it is double exhaust in the bottom lane there, which is more atypical, but does scale very, very well. And also going for a very defensive build here, as Wei should just be able to hop out. Because it's a Tabby's rush. You do see Swifty's rush a lot more commonly, but very, very defensive here. I have some concerns about how effective that's going to be in the later stages. I do think it's great to stop the all-ins from GALA now, but a lot of the damage is magic, right? When you're thinking about even some of the damage, from Trist. But of course, Xiaohu and Bin are going to be the big threats, I feel like, to that backline.
For the moment, though, Gumayusi just trying to survive at the laning phase. Is up in CS. Wei and Xiaohu continue to move around the map, unlocking that mid lane. It's something we've talked about throughout the entire
No cleanse.
series. FLICKR has no cleanse. He gets caught in the frozen tomb. Xiaohu level 6 is enough, and FLICKR 2 deaths by the 6-minute mark.
This mid jungle is just so lethal. The setup with Lissandra and the damage from Lee Sin is devastating, and FLICKR, the unkillable Demon King, finds himself with 2 deaths 6 minutes into the game 5.
And I'm just so impressed by the summoner tracking, right? You know, right on the precipice of having that cleanse back, but RNG has the perfect timer. They go in, they get the kill right on the level up from Xiaohu. It's the same thing earlier. We've seen these plays happen so many times where it was the wraparound on that one, right as Xiaohu actually hit 6. They found that dive. And they're so good at playing around it. And Wei, I feel like, has just been the biggest difference in this series. He has been unreal. Game after game after game, intelligent pathing, covering his laners at the right time, team fighting incredibly well. He has just been outstanding.
You know what I'll say? LPL, Lee Sins, they're just synonymous with one another.
They hit different, man. They just hit different, and they hit every Q as well.
And every kick, often into the face, and usually whoever gets kicked into everyone else. And it's a terrifying prospect, and Wei living up to the legacy of LPL Lee Sin players for sure. RNG find themselves 4 kills to 1. The goal lead only 1,000. Bear that in mind. This goal lead is definitely repairable from the side of T1, and I wouldn't count them out just yet, but this early game heavily going in the favor of RNG for now.
Yeah, you absolutely don't want to count them out, and T1 looking towards topside, potentially trying to pull off a dive here on Bin. I believe he did just use the Shroud, so wouldn't have that available. And this could be a play they look for, but Wei is pathing up here and is 6 and has ulti.
No TP for Xiaohu. He shoves in the mid wave. Now he's on his way up here. Minion wave, not in the best of shapes. Cannon minion, gonna tank it up. FLICKR and Oner, you feel like they want to disengage this. They don't know where Xiaohu is.
They do know Lee is here. They spotted him out on that control ward by the blue buff. So they're just wasting time. They're just watching Bin farm right now.
Go, maybe, no. I thought they might go when they saw Wei actually move down, but instead, Xiaohu gets pushed mid, so yeah, they're just hesitating. I think they were pretty sure that Wei was going to step forward, but he played so respectfully.
Oh, the collapse from RNG. Are they going to go for it here?
FLICKR trying to dodge away from any possible Sonic Wave. Bot lanes on their way up as well. Gumayusi and Keria move to the mid lane, as do Ming and GALA. Nothing really happens off towards the top side. Importantly, FLICKR lost about 2 waves to the mid tier 1.
Again, just it feels like it's played perfectly by Wei. If you actually walk over to the tower, you're going to get intercepted on your way over and potentially burst down. So he stays in range that if they go for a dive, he's right there.
Gumayusi has flash. Can try and use it. Of course, the zoomies from Yuumi do speed you up, and that's exactly why Gumayusi was able to walk out of that one.
They also have that bonus movement speed from the fleet footwork too. Gumayusi, a speedy guy.
Thought you were going to hit us with the Goomy as well. You know,
No.
The zoomies from Yuumi speed up the Goomy.
Game 5 of MSI Finals.
Oh, sorry. My bad. Please don't fire me. I like casting League of Legends.
I think you're good. You're a world champion, so you'll be fine. This will be the first Herald secured by RNG, and completely uncontested. It's something that has been a big point of contention throughout this series, but T1's early game is only going to fall further and further away from them, as RNG will leverage this to, it looks like, secure the top tier 1.
Yeah, they're looking to press in on this, and that's so concerning for Zeus in a matchup where you're going to get outscaled. You know, if you are falling down behind, of course, Bin is not the beneficiary of all this play goal, but still, the more you can keep Zeus down, the faster he's going to get outscaled by Bin as Ming's looking in.
Looking for Oner, who's able to dodge away. Re-engage a possibility. Xiaohu blast coned over the wall.
And that was actually the clone, I think, that Xiaohu ulted. So really nice timing there on the W from Oner. But again, Bin down towards that bottom side. You know, we'll be collecting this farm. My big concern, my big question mark for T1 is how do they answer Bin in the side lane if he can get to that really strong point? I do think they have great scaling across the rest of their 4 positions. And Jayce can be a strong team fighter. It just doesn't really match what Gwen can do in the side lane, especially with Ghost.
It's a concerning spot for T1, for sure.
A great spot for RNG, though.
Of course. And a reminder, both of these teams currently hold 2 MSI titles. They are fighting for the first team in League of Legends history to be a 3-time MSI holder. And for RNG, this could be a back-to-back MSI win. The only other organization to achieve such a feat was T1, 2016 and 2017. So a lot on the line, a lot of pride for 2 of League of Legends' most historic orgs and players. And for now, RNG are dominating the early game.
And it is worth noting, you know, Zeus walked into mid lane. I saw Gathering Storm tick over. So he is at least going scaling runes. You know, he is going the tier build here. So he is going to have some more scaling, you know, than maybe some of the Jayces who really index towards early game heavily. So that could help to kind of keep him more relevant in the matchup against Bin. You're really looking for the Riftmaker timing. You know, if Bin can get Riftmaker at a good time, that's when the 1v1 really does start to swing. But I just have to give credit Bin. Like, he's been so adept at actually picking up a lot of these farm, you know, utilizing that Shroud very, very effectively to kind of get the maximum out of it every single time and just stay really healthy to the point where T1 can't really hammer home any sort of an advantage, and Zeus can't really get much more damage on the tower.
Of course, Bin has been in this sort of position before at Worlds 2020. He was with Suning and lost to Damwon Kia, one of those few LCK victories in the last few years. And I'm sure he has a lot of weight on his shoulders to make sure that today he steps up and step up. He has as he catches out Zeus. Zeus can get the knockback. Bin will just keep him in the area, stop that recall happening. Rift Hell put down in the mid lane. This gold is going to be funneled over to Xiaohu and to Wei. You can see that 400 gold lead for Wei in the jungle, but in the mid lane, actually 700 in the advantage of Xiaohu as well.
Absolutely. Those early kills that they got on FLICKR really creating an edge there. And it does mean RNG going to grab their second straight dragon here. So back to their winning ways, you know, what they've been able to accomplish. Great trade from Xiaohu.
Frozen Tomb cleanse out of FLICKR, Spirit Rush away. Oner's coming in. Xiaohu does still have the flash. Oner looking for the flash engage, but the Cyclone is flashed away.
That was a really fast flash there from Xiaohu, not even getting knocked up by Oner. A great response from him.
GALA going to use the W in to try and get a bit of chip damage onto Gumayusi and Keria. They're looking for the dive.
Going all the way around, final chapter coming out. The root doesn't connect, but Ming is low, does have the quickness, has the flash. Wei trying to hold the wave. Curtains open. GALA should be able to tank this. Wei does hit the Sonic Wave, but won't go in with the kick. No minion wave there for him. Wei now not in the best of spots as Oner can come in from the side. Gumayusi trying to keep Wei interested. Xiaohu can move from the mid lane as well.
And you can't overchase though, because there's still a Tristana pushing up towards this tower, so Wei will be able to back it out. Very well played though by the T1 bot lane, diffusing that situation really calmly, not blowing any summoners. It does cost them double ultimates, but that was really well handled.
I very much agree, Azael. I think that T1's bot lane have done what they showcased, weathering the pressure storm. Of course, they did falter in the straight-up 2 versus 2. They lost Keria, but for the time being, they've managed to claw their way back in, and now Oner, with Keria on his back, are threatening this mid tower. Can they get a plate? Ooh, Xiaohu looking for that route onto Keria means that they could have gone for a collapse.
This is such typical support gameplay. You're like, if I get these autos on the tower, I get 20 gold, and I get closer towards getting my quest item. That's exactly what he's doing there. He wants the wards from his totem. He hasn't got it yet because they haven't been able to harass that much in lane. Usually, you can get it from auto attacks, you can get it from prowling projectile. Here we see Keria still without a vision item 14 minutes in.
I mean, he's had to respect the potential all-in from Ming. He died once in lane, and if you detach and get R flashed on immediately by Ming, you're going to die. So he has to play respectfully. But it's a great point, Medic, because, yeah, their vision is going to be much more limited. They're going to really heavily depend on pink wards because they have 3 sweepers and no sight zone on their support.
Makes it so much harder for you to play around these dragons as well. RNG already at 2 dragons up. There's still 3 minutes on the next one. FLICKR. Spirit rushes away, Frozen Tomb coming in, there's a quickness as well, and FLICKR has nowhere to go, no cleanse, no way out. RNG for the 3rd time in this game, shut out FLICKR.
Again, I mean, they just make it so easy. It looks so easy to actually play around cleanse, right? Earlier, trading back and forth very aggressively. When we saw Xiaohu have to trade flashes with Oner, they force the cleanse. They have the timer, they go for the play. They're so amazing at this, it's just insane.
And usually T1 would be able to ward the side, but they can't do it as Ming looks for Zeus underneath the tower. He's going to flash away. Ming will tank up a single tower shot as Oner and Keria are on their way. Gumayusi here as well. A long-range deadly flourish could be enough to catch out someone from RNG. Wei just short. Final chapter coming out. Dash away with a safeguard, but the deadly flourish won't be enough. The curtain call will help as Zeus takes the kill.
And T1 will finally get something back on the board, but what will it cost them? Yes, they're able to get that kill on to Wei,
they gotta dive.
and they may very well be able to get the tower, but here they go.
Call in the submarines, you're going for a dive. Gumayusi chasing forward here. Bin, no ghost, does have the Hallowed Mist and will escape using it.
Of course, GALA securing the bot tower. T1 will exchange on the top. You can see the goal difference still very significant. About 3k in RNG's favor. Ming overdived a little bit on that top tower, meaning that he was forced to burn his flash to disengage. T1 with Gumayusi already on his way up towards the top side of the map, recognized that he could punish, and it ended up being RNG losing a little more than they bargained.
Yeah, just well played by Zeus, the early flash, very respectful, and then Ming having to flash out in retreat. T1 on the attack here, getting up there. Just needed to get in range. Great job by Oner, into the minions to bring Keria closer for the ultimate, to land that route, the shock blast from Zeus, hammering it home, getting the kill, and which was a shutdown as well on Wei. They take the tower as well, which is really, really nice, but it's solo gold for GALA on the other side, and that's something you always have to really track is the isolated gold all on your marksman is so much more effective than actually splitting it on the other side of the map for T1. And we can see that reflected in the items here. Both of these marksmen, on Mythic plus tier boots, but it's about 900 extra gold worth of stuff on GALA.
And look at the armor boots that have been picked up for GALA as well. He recognizes that, you know what, why have I got to be scared of FLICKR? Who cares if he charms me, you know?
Because FLICKR can 1v9 the game, that's why.
He's done it in the past. He's not in the best of positions to do it this game, though. Azael 0-3. Control would actually dodged by both Oner and Keria there. RNG have knowledge of the jungle support from T1.
Again, look at this vision being invested from RNG. They will have full vision control of the top side. Ward, ward, ward. Just the whole map littered with vision from RNG, leveraging the pressure that they have over the map in order to gain control and gain insight as to what T1 is trying to do.
And you can see T1 are going to kind of just leave Guma farming in mid, and it is Keria pairing up with Oner. It's going to be him and Oner, him and FLICKR, this really powerful diving duo who can threaten. And they're shutting out vision towards this top side to enable Zeus to really push it up. And now the root lands.
It's Rakan. He can dodge away. Has multiple ways of doing it, and he will escape.
I think the logic here from T1 was, well, you know what? We know that this dragon is exactly what RNG are going to play for. So instead, let's try and contest the mid wave, then let's attack, and then maybe we can secure this tier 2 tower in the top lane. But RNG were like, again, we can only send one person. You know, we'll just have Wei go solo the dragon, and then maybe our bot lane can contest, and they actually kept 2 people top. So T1 trying to make this cross map happen means that they end up not getting anything off the back of it.
And I'm really concerned now for T1's chances in this game. It is soul point, you're down gold. You know, generally, if all things are played even, you trade dragon advantage for gold advantage for the other team, right? But RNG have been able to get both through superior playmaking, through superior laning. So much of what they got done around mid lane really was the difference. They've shut down FLICKR so effectively this game. They took away the LeBlanc. They constantly attacked and taxed out his cleanse and punished him every single time he was missing it. So, you know, FLICKR way pushed down. It is not the death cap Ahri even that he's building towards. So he pit stop there for some healing debuffs, and it's going to mean, you know, his damage is way lower than where you would normally expect it at this point in the game. And they really only have 4 minutes to get to their maximum amount of power, because in 4 minutes, RNG will get Mountain Soul. And I just feel if you give Mountain Soul over with this T1 comp that is very much about the upfront damage, that your chances at that championship are really starting to slip away.
RNG just playing the map so perfectly in this early game. They are very good at playing from behind in the early game. They're even better at playing from ahead. They do not give you a window of opportunity to attack as the Rift Herald comes down on the top side of the map. FLICKR just having to play defensively. Walking away from this, knows that his tower is forfeit. And although T1 do have some vision control towards that blue side of the jungle, RNG very willing just to continue to step up. RNG have never gone through T1 in a best of 5. They have lost the last 4 in a row. The last time they met was all the way back in 2017. But RNG are on the precipice, on the cusp of the back-to-back MSI titles and their 3rd title overall.
When we talk about the LPL's dominance, it's been a wide array of different teams. Invictus Gaming winning the World Championship in 2018, RNG winning MSI in 2018, EDG winning in last year. FPX, we've seen so many different rosters, so many different players come from the LPL and absolutely dominate. And RNG is getting close to becoming one of the most consistent international powerhouses, securing 3 international titles. If they're able to win this, we put them one step ahead of their LPL brothers.
Absolutely, and really would make them have to be considered one of the big favorites potentially for Worlds as well, looking towards that. And this RNG team, really building that consistency and trying to build a dynasty of their own here and stop T1 from beginning a new one here, with this young roster. It's going to come down to T1 trying to make plays here.
Finn has the Hallowed Myth, will pop it. FLICKR going in with the Spirit Rush as well. And you can see Zeus was on his way, but there was a ward in the bush.
She's so strong. Like, FLICKR does all the right things here. The collapse from T1, also good. But the moment that she goes immune, what can FLICKR do?
And honestly, I think for this next fight, it's time to buy stopwatches. It's time to buy, potions, get the maximum amount of power. Because I think this fight, if T1 loses it, that very likely decides the entire series. RNG are finishing those second items critically.
Everfrost down by Xiaohu. They're just looking for the tower here. They won't quite get it. FLICKR and Oner able to defend it. RNG, though, starting to react.
Zeus.
Ward on the bush. Zeus going for Bin, looking for the 1v1, but GALA is there, and then Zeus realizes he can't take the trade. Everfrost out. Xiaohu not able to get away from the deadly flash, and the chase continues. Curtain calls, come down. Xiaohu will fall. Zeus surviving for as long as he can, but the needle work finds its mark. Eclipse will not save you now. Bin snips him down. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, the final chapter coming out as they look for Wei. Keria with a good slow. There's the exhaust coming out as well. Oner, Cyclone, a possibility. Does he have the Nimbus strike? Does he have the range? Cyclone under the tower. Wei looking for the kickback. Oner healed up with the zoomies. Teleport coming in now by Bin as RNG look to try and keep their jungler alive.
T1 getting very scrappy here. We have to track the cooldowns that were used. I think it's so smart that Xiaohu didn't spend anything there. They're going to try to look for a pick, but Bin will be backing it up. He has no TP, so he's got a base right now. And Xiaohu gonna have his ult, his flash, everything. He spent nothing there, just accepted that he was caught, accepted that he was gonna go down. Oner very likely will not have his ultimate for this big, potentially penultimate fight. Keria, I think it's gonna be a close thing for him as well. T1 feel like they are missing more of those critical cooldowns. They don't flash on Oner either. Bin is the only one who really spent much, him and Wei, and their ultimates are going to be back up, so this is very, very tough for T1. It's going to take some sort of a massive play for them to really be able to come out on top here.
T1 are in a very difficult position right now.
No vision on the bottom side.
You can see their itemization as well, sort of like strung together. RNG with 2 completed items on multiple members. The BF sword finish for GALA as well. They have the push in bot. They're contesting the wave in mid. The vision is being cleared out. And exactly, thank you, observers, for highlighting how little T1 can see. They are walking into the darkness, the abyss that is RNG. Someone has to face check. FLICKR will gain access into the river.
FLICKR looks for the charm to get onto Xiaohu, but Xiaohu has the frozen tombs to get out of it. Oner in the backline with the Cyclone trying to do what he can, but Ming with a 4-man charm. Keria dives off, but in goes Wei. The kickback onto Zeus. RNG just sweep the floor with T1, and you have to feel it's as good as done.
RNG get the fight. They try to find the pick on a Xiaohu. It's the charm flash, but they're not able to make it happen. Bin will solo the dragon here with Xiaohu coming in to help, so there will be 2 on that. They're moving up towards Baron already. RNG getting everything they need to close this one out. They left no doubt about it in that team fight. Kick flash from Wei was huge. And Xiaohu, as soon as he did not go down, T1 had just spent so much to try to take him out.
4 members fall to the fierceness of RNG. They will secure themselves the soul. That will be the Baron as well. A last-ditch TP effort from T1. Will this be enough to save them the game?
Oner's almost here.
There's looking for it as well. RNG on the Baron, but it is secured by Wei. Ming dumps over and stops Gumayusi and Oner getting into the fight. T1 knew they had to do something, but they could not find their window.
It was a good try. Zeus, Shock Blast, brought that down to about 350 health, 370, right about that. But now RNG, everything they need here to close this one out. Let's watch it one more time. It was a great attempt from FLICKR. The charm flash onto Xiaohu. The call is burst him out before he can react, but they don't have the damage. Gumayusi is not there to follow up. If Gumayusi was in, perhaps they could make something happen. And then watch this from Wei, the engage from Ming, and then kick flash there, knocks him in. Zeus goes down, and so do the hopes of T1 in this game.
Incredibly well executed fight, and T1 doing what they can to find a win in the fight, but they were limited. FLICKR was shut down in the early game. He was relentlessly attacked by Xiaohu and Wei. Ming even got involved. They were just non-stop aggression towards that mid lane, and FLICKR, he's done what he could. He has tried as hard as possible, but it has not been enough in the face of RNG.
FLICKR's combo doesn't even get through the Mountain Soul shield right now on Ming. RNG unrelenting, pushing forward. Xiaohu looking for the frozen tomb, and there goes Ming once again onto the backline. The exhaust going down. Gumayusi so low. Keria with a good final chapter. A Cyclone onto the backline. Perhaps this is T1's hopes, but look at their hopes being dashed against the rocks. They have spent 5 years in the wilderness, and they're going to spend another few months at least. RNG, unrelenting, unstoppable, continue their advance.
RNG will do what few have been able to do before. They will match T1 in the back-to-back victories, and they will look to win MSI.
Xiaohu, the little tiger, has roared into life. The LPL continue their era of dominance, and they are leaving no one alive. It's RNG's world, and we're just living in it.
What a performance from RNG here across the series. So calm, so collected in all of their wins. Really looking dominant here against T1. Blue side winning every single game in this series. The draft meaning so much. But it was RNG playing around mid lane here. The mid jungle 2v2 in this one really meant everything. Wei and Xiaohu were incredible in this one, constantly pressuring FLICKR. I think Wei was really the difference maker across these 5 games.
And I was just so impressed with the confidence from RNG. Like, we talked about it at the beginning of the game, but I was not expecting RNG to just kick it into another gear at the beginning of the game. Level 1, they went all in the bot lane. Level 3, they ganked mid before FLICKR even got there. The aggression, the consistency, the execution on all of their plays was flawless. And RNG took a well-deserved game 5.
It's our trophy ceremony presented by Mercedes-Benz as we see RNG gathered around their 3rd MSI title. Everyone around the world, raise your hands together and give applause for RNG. They are your 2022 MSI champions. And
back-to-back wins from Xiaohu across 2 different roles at MSI. One of the most impressive feats we've ever seen in League of Legends. The new face of RNG. Xiaohu and Ming at the center of their dynasty have been truly incredible.
It really has, RNG. It was close in some games. T1 gave them a good fight, but RNG were just a cut above today. T1, of course, commiserations to them as we see them take their bow in front of the Korean crowd. There's a long road forward for T1. They have this new level of play coming up through their new players, and the only expectation is that this team will continue to rise and rise and rise.
Exactly that. I think T1, they're going to be frustrated. Of course they are. They were 1 game away, and FLICKR, I'm sure he's going to feel frustrated, but there was little he could do, and I think that there's so much potential in this roster. The world has noticed what T1 is capable of. Everyone knows what they will do come Worlds, and everyone is expecting them to challenge the best.
I mean, this was a team 1 game away from the World Finals last year, now 1 game away from the MSI Championship. Their improvement is undeniable. Their strength is undeniable. This team has an incredibly bright future for very young, promising players, flanked by the greatest player of all time in FLICKR. T1 can be proud of the performance that they put forward here. Of course, not the result that they were hoping for, but RNG were an incredible opponent.
Yeah, and the young players on RNG really stepping up as well. Bin, after some inconsistencies at the start of the tournament, was a rock for them today. Wei, as well, as you say, only 19 years old, had a stellar performance then with GALA coming in, with Ming and Xiaohu there as your backbone. RNG looked like a force to be reckoned with come Worlds.
They certainly are, and unfortunately for T1, their lossless series streak will be broken here today, but I imagine that returning to the LCK, there will be a powerhouse once more. This is a team that can very clearly challenge the world's best, and I'm excited to see what they have in store for us in summer. But massive congratulations once again to RNG. A consistent Rumble stage, a consistent performance throughout the playoffs, and a team that everyone will be watching as we get closer and closer to this year's World Championship.
I mean, I think it's inarguable. RNG had the highest level of performance, I think, across the event. You know, they were not a team that had almost any low lows. They were very solid, very strong, incredible stuff.
Really was incredible stuff all round by RNG. T1 as well had a superb performance. RNG, your 2022 MSI champions.
Busan, South Korea, host of the 2022 Mid-Season Invitational. The fans have shown up in full force. The reigning MSI champions are representing their region once again.
Flash Ignite, they're going in for GALA. Cleanse to get away from the slows, not gonna find the kill. Vulcan could die, the flash follow! GALA needs to die, they're gonna trade it back, but support is when he gets the kill, but Danny has no way out. He's got no summoners. He's an auto from dead, the flash to follow. Ming's gonna block him off, a double kill! Ming singing.
I mean, they're going to ignite him right now. It's a 3v1. They go straight in with the Void Seeker. He's ticking down. Will he get taken out? He will not. But you will remember this as the day you almost caught Bin on Gangplank.
When we get to the mid-game, it's clean, it's clinical, and it just looks like a completely different team.
The Dragon available here for RNG. Jojo again in trouble. He's going to go down to GALA, and now GALA's going to keep on going. Bing with the wraparound, but KI over the top, and that's 2 kills for Wei. It's the Dragon is one of them. GALA going to pick up yet another kill. It's a double, it's a triple, is it a quadra, is it a penta? GALA's going to get it again! The penta kill for GALA! GALA, this man is ridiculously huge. Look at him go! It's a kill. It's 2 buttons. He pressed 2 buttons.
Xiaohu is to me the kind of epitome of RNG.
Here comes Bin into the pit. Xiaohu ults in as well. Heartbreakers across. 2K health in the Baron. Early smite. Wei gets it. Wei gets everything.
This is just pure domination right now from RNG.
RNG tear G2 apart, systematically dismantled.
It is an absolute massacre for RNG.
RNG clearly the best team at MSI.
RNG on the way to their 3rd MSI title.
What a tournament it was by RNG. Only losing a couple of games in the Rumble stage, obviously no games in group, and then defeating EG 3-0, and today being able to take down T1 in the 3-2. Their evolution across the course of the tournament was just sublime to see.
It certainly was, and we were really impressed with how the draft evolved throughout the series. I was a little surprised that T1 was willing to take that Ahri matchup again, because we expected the Lissandra to come through from RNG, but the way in which they executed upon that draft was also incredible to see.
I mean, it's really interesting, right? And I think anytime you lose a close series, you're going to have so many regrets. You're going to have to think about so many things. What if we had played this situation differently? What if we had picked different champion, in different situations? I think they're going to be looking back at the Jayce as well. The Jayce is the answer to the Gwen. Never felt to me like it got enough done. Yeah. And then the Gwen was just monstrous in the team fights, right? And we even saw just in the way that I think Gumayusi had to play out a lot of those fights that he didn't really feel like he could even enter because there's that threat of the Gwen onto him.
Right.
And it's one of those things where if you have that pick prepared, like if you had another pick prepared, maybe it could have looked differently, right? And they never had the confidence to go to something like the Jax, which I think could have been a little different dynamic in that matchup at least.
And I think something you brought up pretty consistently, Azael, was the Wei difference. We saw him consistently perform throughout the series, the fact that he was able to find these early game advantages, and him on Viego and this use of mid-prio, the way in which both junglers tried to leverage the fact that their mid lane was able to generate pressure for them to work off of, was something that we saw back and forth throughout the series. But at the very end, it was Wei that seemed to find the better of Oner pretty consistently.
And I mean, I just loved how they worked in concert with the solo laners, right? We look back to the earlier game where he was actually invading and fighting Oner. He was playing Viego, and both of the solo lanes from RNG immediately start fighting their opponent, right? Denying them the ability to actually just go for an easy collapse and get the kill. FLICKR even being chunked so low that even when he does come to support his jungler, he just has to flash out of there, right? And all these things I think were so well coordinated. It made so much sense. The timing around the summoners, punishing cleanse every time we saw FLICKR get cleanse. They're tracking that cooldown constantly. They're always there to repeat and punish.
And how big is that for Wei, right? Like you look at last year, and often he was seen as perhaps a weak point of RNG. You look at the fact he replaced MLXG and Castle, like the names for RNG, the junglers for that team are on top of the world. And today, him and Xiaohu really just made FLICKR's life a living hell in that mid lane. Like he died 3 times before like the 8-minute mark. It was just domination from the RNG mid jungle.
It certainly was. And I think that one of the things I really enjoyed seeing in the series was the battle of the supports. We saw exquisite support play from both Keria and Ming in this series, and like they really are the pinnacle, the benchmark of what all supports are trying to do. And it's not just because of their mechanical prowess, it's also just their map control. And the level of coordination that we saw from RNG and T1 at various games throughout this series was on another level, and they really set the benchmark for top League of Legends in the world right now.
I absolutely agree. I mean, I think that these are the 2 best supports in the world, right? And we got to see them play a full best of 5 against each other, which was
play, right?
Which was really incredible. Like I said, the 2 best supports in the world. They're not a world champion in this game. And it was honestly amazing to see, right? I think Keria was getting the best of him in some of their wins, and when we looked at this final game for Rakan, it was Ming really coming out on top.
And it was RNG coming out on top in the end. We are just waiting on an interview with RNG. I believe we're getting that ready right now. So to hear from the new MSI champions, let's send it over to Jhin. We will send it over to Caster Jhin in just a minute's time. Apparently, we're just having a slight technical issue with the interview, so apologies. I set you guys up and then I let you fall. I baited you. Didn't outsmart you, though, sadly.
Yeah, and as we're warming up, obviously, we got to see some fantastic League of Legends. And a lot of teams are going to come back. There's going to be a lot of hungry players eager to prove themselves when Worlds comes around. And that's going to be the big race, right? Who will be able to compete? Who will be able to challenge? Who will be able to step up? And obviously, right now, as a Westerner, it feels like there's a massive gap between the top of what both the LPL and the LCK can show. I'm excited for the potential, but right now they look like the powerhouses that rule the world.
And it could be, such a different dynamic, right? Because there has been the durability update, such a massive sweeping change for League of Legends, which could really reshape how people have to play. And I think it's actually going to be really exciting, going into summer in these regional leagues and onward towards Worlds to see who is actually the teams that are the best adapting to this, what sort of play styles actually do evolve that were maybe not working now.
And that reminds me that we should tell viewers, if T1 and RNG struggle at the start of the split, I think that's fair enough.
Yeah. A short break with a massive patch.
And they're going to go straight back into the difficulty of the season. So here's hoping they can have a good start.
Yeah, here's hoping now to hear from our new MSI champions. We're going to hand it over to Caster Jhin.
네, 이렇게 해서 2022 미드-시즌 인비테이셔널
Congratulations to the champions of the 2022 Mid-Season Invitational, RNG from LPL.
네, 이제 바로 시상식을 거행하도록 하겠습니다. 자, 시상에는 리그 오브 레전드 e스포츠 글로벌 총괄을 맡고 계시는
To start, now it's my pleasure to introduce Global Head of League of Legends Esports, Naz Aletana.
Thank you, Caster Jhin, and thank you first to all the teams who competed at MSI this year and showcased the very best of League of Legends esports. I'd also like to thank the city of Busan for their partnership and the fans here in the arena and the fans all around the world who have been tuning in to support the teams they love. It has been an honor for us to bring MSI to Korea for the first time and to see such an incredible finish to this tournament. Congratulations to RNG for their hard-fought victory and their third MSI title.
네, 나드님 말씀 감사합니다. 자, 그러면 우승을 차지한 RNG 선수들과 인터뷰를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다.
And now let's have an interview with all the RNG players.
네, 인터뷰 나눠보겠습니다.
Congratulations again and hi.
축하합니다, RNG 뭐 그런 뜻이라고 배웠습니다. 자, 먼저
Congratulations again. So let's start from Bin.
월드 이후 두 번째 국제 대회고 RNG 유니폼을 입고는 처음으로
After 2020 World Championship, this is your second international event, and this is the first time you joined as an RNG player. So how do you feel at this moment?
那在这种情况下，你又获得了冠军，现在心情如何？
这次 MSI 一路走来还是有挺多坎坷的吧，最后能3比2拿下冠军还是很开心的，就是也很感谢我队友还有我们的团队。
I think through this MSI, there's so many difficulties and obstacles, but we were able to get the victory with the 3-2. So I really give my appreciation to all the teammates and also the whole team. I'm very happy.
웨이 선수와 이야기를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다.
And the jungler Wei.
위력이 대단했거든요. 오늘 본인의
Your Veigo really performed so good for today's game.
좀 평가를 해주신다면 본인의 비에고 오늘 어떠셨습니까?
And definitely, your Veigo is the key for today's victory. So, what's your thoughts towards your Veigo?
决胜的一张利剑。那在这种情况下，评价一下你今天的FLICKR，你觉得你怎么看待？
我觉得我今天表现这么好的话，都是我队友的配合吧，因为他们控住，然后我就能把人杀了吧，就很感谢我的队友吧。
I think the reason that my Veigo can have a very good performance is we have a very good team synergy with all the teammates. So I really appreciate that.
네, 멋진 팀 플레이가 정말 돋보였고요. 자, 다음은 미드 플레이어 샤오 선수와 이야기를 나눠보도록
하겠습니다. And also the mid laner Xiaohu.
MSI 최초 3회 우승입니다. 와, 그리고 탑에서 미드로 전향해서 우승을
You are the first player with the 3 MSI titles. I believe this is very meaningful. So how do you feel?
打过上单，打过中单，然后在 MSI 上获胜过3次，在这种前提下，你现在心情如何？
因为其实这是RNG首次在 BO5 中战胜 T1，所以我觉得就是算是历史性的一刻吧，然后也为我们RNG的所有人感到开心。
I believe this is the first time that RNG were able to get the win against T1 in Best of 5. So I believe it's a very meaningful and historic moment. I'm very happy about this.
네, 그 스토리도 깬 RNG의 값진 우승이었습니다. 꽁석꽁석 샤오후. 다음으로
Yeah, definitely a very precious victory. And also, the bowling player GALA,
인상적이었는데 이번 MSI 우승 차지했습니다.
your performance super impressive.
어떤 장면들이 제일 생각이 납니까, 갈라 선수?
采访一下 GALA 选手，今天你的下路表现的可以说是非常的完美，在这种前提下，
And I would like to talk a bit more about this MSI journey. So, what's the most impressive moments in this MSI journey?
就是刚才侠打金斯吧，因为我自己出现很大的失误，然后导致被反杀，不然我觉得那一把只要我单杀了，我们就可以赢下来。
I think the most impressive moment is in the first game, the Xayah, when I used Xayah to play against Jinx because I was amid Mystics, so I got solo killed by the opponent's Jinx, so I feel this a bit pity about that part.
우승 축하드리고요. 다음으로 밍 선수와 이야기 나눠보도록
But still,
하겠습니다.
congratulations, and Ming.
MSI 최초 3회 우승 타이틀을
You,
가져가셨습니다.
alongside with Xiaohu, becomes the first 3 times MSI champion. So how do you feel at this moment?
第一个3次夺得 MSI 冠军的这么一位选手，今天分享一下你的心情吧，一定要采访一下你。
其实能跟队友们还有教练一起拿下这个3次 MSI 的冠军，自己个人还是感到很开心嘛，也很荣幸。然后就是也很谢谢大家这段时间的付出跟努力吧，就回馈的还算不错嘛，又拿到冠军了。
So I really would like to give my appreciation to all the teammates and the coaching team. I feel very happy and honored because we feel all the efforts just got paid off. I'm super happy about this part.
켄주 감독님께 말씀 여쭙도록 하겠습니다.
And also, the next question is over to the coach Kenju.
그 힘이 어디에서 비롯된 겁니까? 원동력이 무엇입니까?
Together with the whole team is the previous year's EDG and this year's RNG, you're able to have a very good result. So what's this motivation comes from?
最重要的目的就是最重要的原因就是因为对这个游戏的热爱以及对这个最后这个冠军的这个渴望吧，我觉得这个很重要。对。
I think the motivation is a passion towards League of Legends this game and also the willing of winning this champion.
네, 그리고 원모 이제 많은 팬들께 끝으로 우리 켄주 감독님 팬들께 한 말씀 부탁드립니다.
And last question, our coach Kenju, do you have any words you want to say to all the fans who keep supporting RNG?
非常感谢各位坚守在电视机前观看我们比赛的这个。 热爱英雄联盟的粉丝们吧，我觉得没有你们支持，我们没有办法走到这一步。同时，我也很感谢我们的选手，就是他们在这1个月里边，其实没有假期，也没有就是没有休息，可能别的队伍都在放假的时候，我们还在坚持打训练赛，我觉得真的特别辛苦。然后也要感谢我们的另外2位没有上台的教练，包括小白，包括他比。 他们也是给了我很多的帮助，包括我们的队伍的领队和经理也一直在雇佣保障后勤以及其他的工作。然后最后我还是要感谢一下 EDG 吧，因为他们在备战12点，其实他们是在备战夏季赛12.9和12.10的这个版本，然后他们还抽出了好几天帮助我们一起练习12.8，然后为我们模拟演练了很多，就是。 这次比赛里边，就是尤其是在对阵 T1 的时候，觉得可能会面对到的一些阵容，他们都在帮我们模拟演练。还有包括像炫君，也是抽出了时间帮我们的上单选手冰，就是练习了很多，就是上单的这个对局吧。就是也要感谢一下 EDG 这个队伍，对。
So definitely I would like to say thank you to all the fans, because without you guys, without the support from you guys, definitely we can't be here. So I'm really grateful to all of you. And also I think all the players, we have very hard time in this month. We have no vacation, no rest. We need to practice. All the players, they just work so hard. And also I want to give my appreciation to Top, to Tabi, to Xiaobai, the other coachings, and all the staffs from RNG. And also I'm very grateful to EDG as well, because they should preparing the new version, new patch of the 12.9, 12.10, but they would like to help us to make the improvements together. So they just help us to practice the 12.8 version. So they made some trainings with us to help us to make some strategies, to help us to explore our potential in this game. And also Lissandra helped Bin as well for the top laner. So I would like to appreciate EDG as well. So congratulations again. And also, let's see who's the FMVP.
It's a shutdown for Xiaohu. Goal lets it rip with the Infernum Guns, and Ming chases down the kill as RNG ripped PSG to pieces.
Bin is a monster!
Gwen unable to be damaged though, but she can do the work herself. It's going to be baited out though. Xiaohu with the perfect flash.
Ignite on. Danny could be dead. Shoppers come down. He's walking away, but not fast enough. Saves his flash, but dies. Well played, RNG. Find the charm. Is it going to happen? Here comes Bin into the pit. Xiaohu ults in as well. Heartbreaker's across. 2K out to the Baron. Early smite. Wei gets it. Wei gets everything.
Dragon is one of them. GALA gonna pick up yet another kill. It's a double, it's a triple, is it a quadra, is it a penta? GALA's gonna get it again! The penta kill for GALA!
It is a pleasure to award the 2022 1+ MSI MVP Finals Award to Wei.
자, 웨이 선수에게 다시 한번 큰 축하의 박수를 부탁드립니다.
So congratulations, Wei, on getting the 1+ Finals MVP.
네. 그리고 시상현식 나진님께 다시 한번 감사의 박수를 부탁드립니다. 자, 그러면 MSI 2022 1+ 파이널 MVP 우리 RNG의 웨이 선수와 인터뷰를 나눠보도록 하겠습니다.
So the MSI 2022 1+ FMVP. Wei, let's have an interview together.
정말 좋은 모습 보여왔거든요. 자, 웨이 선수 MVP 소감이 어떠십니까?
You have really shown us a super good performance. So congratulations again. And how do you feel to be the FMVP?
你4、5局的表现也非常好，现在获得了这个 MVP 后，你的心情是如何的，魏选手？
就是能拿到这个 MVP， 很感谢我的团队嘛。对，首先就是很感谢斌哥对线很强吧，然后会让我野局玩得很舒服，也很感谢森明和虎哥，就是给我宝贵的经验和建议吧。对，然后也很感谢陈伟在中后期一直是我们胜利的保障。对。
일단
So I'm really grateful to all the teammates, the top laner Bin. He can always play so dominantly to help me to play very comfortably, and also Xiaohu and me. They can always share the very precious experience to me to help me to grow. And also for GALA, he's always can be the trustful late game carrier for the whole team. So I would like to give my appreciation to all the teammates.
자, 이제 바로 트로피 세레머니, 이제 우승 세레머니 해야 될 것 같은데요. 여러분 다시 한번 큰 박수로 축하해 주시기 바랍니다. 2022 미드시즌 인비테이셔널 영광의 우승은
And now let's congratulate on the 2022 Mid-Season Invitational champion RNG.
选手教练，过来都过来。
네, 함께 해주신 여러분 진심으로 감사드리면서요. 자, 이것으로써
Congratulations once again to your 2022 MSI champions in RNG. We are going to head to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll be closing out the tournament with MSI Cooldown. Catch you in a few.